There is a reason our church exists. We exist to help people find and follow Jesus. Now, this is a big idea. This is our one big mission. So it would be helpful if there was a strategy, a plan, for us to pull off this one big mission of helping people find and follow Jesus. That's exactly what MyPath is. A spiritual growth strategy that not only helps us accomplish our mission, but it helps us grow spiritually and become more and more like the people that God created us to be. We call it MyPath because honestly, each of us is at a different place on our spiritual journey. We will have different areas we want to work on, different passions we have that will lead us to different places on the path, and that's a good thing. MyPath is built around 3 values and 6 priorities that help us succeed at our one mission. Our 3 values are that we would be real people, honest, authentic, transparent, willing to ask for help. Real people with a real faith that's alive and bold and risk-taking, aiming to make a real impact. These 3 values, along with our 6 priorities, help us accomplish our mission. Take a look at this triangle. Each corner highlights one of the 3 values, and each value has 2 of our 6 priorities that go along with that value. So if we looked at real people, again, honest, authentic, willing to admit your mistakes. We're not a finished product, we're a work in progress. If we want to grow as real people, we need to connect with a few and share our faith somehow. Connect. God never intended for us to live life alone. Life is best when it's lived in community. We need the encouragement, we need the help, we need the accountability of others around us. And so that begs the question, where are you connected? Are you attending a Sunday school class or a life group? Are you in an accountability group? Do you have friendships that are meaningful in the sense that they are helping to build you up in your faith? We cannot become real people without the help of connecting with a few. The second priority connected with real people is this idea of sharing our faith somehow. We believe that God wants us to open up about our faith to our friends and our family, our co-workers, our neighbors who don't know Christ. We believe that the best evangelism, sharing our faith, happens between friends over a period of time. It doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't have to be rude. It can be very natural as we simply do things like ask questions, wait to hear their answers. We don't correct them. We build trust. And over time, God will give us opportunities to open that door farther to talking about the good news. We just want to make it hard for the unsaved to stay unsaved. We have to share our faith somehow. The second value is real faith. And again, that's bold, it's risk-taking, it's everyday, it's alive. And there are 2 priorities connected with this value. One of them is to spend time with God. There's no apology for this. Building a healthy relationship takes intentionality and effort. You don't stumble into a good marriage. You don't stumble into a healthy relationship. And in the same way, you don't stumble into a healthy relationship with God. You have to spend time with Him. Reading the Bible, praying, and listening. And this takes intentionality. And so we ask this question, are you spending time each day reading the Bible, praying, and then listening, getting used to, getting into the habit of trying to hear the promptings, the voice of God? As you do this regularly, it will become more and more enjoyable, and it will become a habit in your life. You, by spending time with God, will grow more and more into real faith. Along with this second priority is also this idea of living a life of worship. Now, most of us, we hear the word worship and we think Sunday morning, we think singing, we think music. But at its core, worship is giving worth to God. So we worship Him in how we speak with our neighbors. We worship Him in our obedience. We worship Him by thinking about and praying and having a constancy of prayer throughout the day. This is why we call this priority living a life of worship, as opposed to going to worship service, because it's how we live. It's a posture. And when we spend time with God and we're in this habit of living a life of worship, that feeds this second value of a growing, bold, risk-taking, real faith. The third corner of this triangle and the third value is aiming to make a real impact. God didn't save us so that we could just make a little difference in the world. He saved us so we could make a big difference. We need to raise the bar and be real people with real faith, aiming to make a real impact. The two priorities that go with this are serve somewhere locally and engage in missions globally. Serve somewhere. The Bible teaches that every person has passions and gifts and skills that God has given them for the purpose of serving and of building up the church and the community. Maybe you are passionate about music, or maybe you can build things, or maybe you're super organized. But you have passions and you have gifts and skills that God wants you to use to serve somewhere. The Bible describes the church as a body, where each body part has a different function, and where we need all the parts of the body for it to function effectively. That's the philosophy, that's the driving force behind this idea of serve somewhere. You are gifted to serve. And so, if you're going to make an impact, obviously, you need to serve somewhere, and we are willing to help you in that. The sixth priority is to engage in missions globally. We're passionate about trying to take Jesus to Wichita and Sedgwick County and Kansas and our great nation. But there's a world out there that needs to hear about Jesus. And so we believe that God has called us to engage in missions. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you, for instance, go on a missions trip, not only does it raise your impact on those people you go to serve, but it impacts you. Again and again, people come back from these mission trips and they're changed. They see God differently. They witness His power in ways they might not normally see it. And so we hope that you will consider going on a mission trip. We absolutely hope that you will be engaged in missions through praying for missionaries, through supporting missionaries, because when we engage in missions, it not only impacts those we serve, but it impacts and changes us. We all know that Christianity was never intended to be distilled down to a list of things to be checked off. It's all about a relationship with Jesus. But it's still true that Christ has called us to a mission to help people find and follow Jesus. And for us to effectively pull off that mission, we need to be a certain kind of people doing certain things. The certain kind of people with real faith, making real impact. The kinds of things we do, these 6 priorities. Bottom line, we want you to grow stronger. We want you to grow deeper in your relationship with Jesus. MyPath is intended to be a strategy and a plan to help you pull off our mission and help you become more and more like Jesus. Now, it will take intentionality, it will take hard work, it will take discipline, it won't always be easy, but it will be so worth it to throw effort into MyPath and your spiritual journey. So, let's walk together as we help people find and follow Jesus.